Well, it turns out April showers don't bring May flowers, but snow flowers. From North Iowa to southern Minnesota, this is Snow Mayhem 2013.
Yeah. We have KIMT News 3's Natalie Tendall and meteorologist Tyler Roney live for us in Mason City, and reporter Jaron Rennie standing by also in Albert Lee.
Well, to talk about what's been happening today.
I like to snowball.
Oh, now wait a minute.
Well, this is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun, isn't it? Now, obviously not for everybody, though, because you had to deal with...
I heard that they had some power issues there today.
Well, that's right, Natalie. It may look pretty in some spots like Fountain Lake behind me, but in many of the neighborhoods...
Mother Nature shows her strength tonight as several tornadoes touch down and leave behind damage and destruction.
So it's really no surprise that there's some major damage in our viewing area. We want to really thank our viewers tonight for all their video that was sent in to us tonight. We started in Wright County, which received the brunt of the damage. This is video.
Here's what's left after those storms passed through. This is property in rural Hampton, a few miles away from Latimer. As you can see, what was supposed to be a quick errand turned into a nightmare situation. KIMT News 3's Emily Boster is talking with her to find out how it all unfolded. Emily, she has to be very upset still.
Matt, as you can imagine, as you can see in the video, Showalter's 6-month-old son, Kaysen, is being ripped out of the hands of her friend. Jonathan Workman is accused of grabbing the baby while Showalter stepped away for a moment. Witnesses say he was convinced that it was his baby named MJ.
There are proper techniques for head-to-ball blows. Some coaches even suggest first teaching headers with a balloon, then a volleyball, followed by a partially deflated soccer ball. And then finally, the real deal. But soccer is just our kickoff point.
But I still found something to taste test. That's very good. It's unique.
As we mentioned, the Boston Marathon is a very prestigious race and draws in people from all over the world, including many local runners.
And late this afternoon, I spoke with a Mason City man well known in the local running circuit.
Explosion, or just this big noise. We didn't know exactly what it was, and actually, we were a little startled, but we didn't think too much about it. We walked a little more, and about 10 or 15 seconds later, we heard another big explosion. And at that time, we saw people just running towards us.
AJ, what are you hearing from them?
Yeah, first of all, I need to point out that they're all safe and they're sound and they're ready to talk about what happened this evening. They were clear of the action when I spoke with them this afternoon. Torrey Salsmith, he finished the race just over 3 hours earlier in the afternoon. When I was able to reach the family, Torrey was too shook up to speak with me.
He says security at the airport is amped up too. There are extra law enforcement and police dogs on hand, as you can imagine, but he tells me his flight is still on schedule, Matt.
Now, if I turn this light around, I'm not going through a true therapy session, but if I simply follow the light back and forth for just a few minutes, I start to feel a little bit more relaxed.
Stay with that scene.
For example, Rich asks Larry questions.
We are now under 24 hours away from one of the most high-profile events in all of high school sports, where state wrestling champions.
And tonight, that conversation on sex trafficking is happening in North Iowa, an area that's not immune to the worldwide problem. KIMT News 3's Sarah Danik is live in Mason City with a preview of tonight's forums.
Tell me why it's important to have a forum now about sex trafficking.
I think the awareness needs to be out there. So many people I talk to are like, well, that doesn't happen here. It's not in Mason City, but it is. And
tell us more about Marion's visit. Now, you got a chance to talk with Marion Ross today. Is that right, Raquel?
Yeah, hi guys. I did get a chance to meet with Marion today, and let me tell you, she did not disappoint. She is funny, she's down to earth.
Now your hosts, Amy Fleming and Matt Bradley.
Good morning, I'm Amy Fleming with the North Iowa Band Festival Parade. Joining me, Matt Bradley.
Yes, I'm Matt Bradley here for my third, but this is the 75th, the River City Diamond Jubilee, and despite any weather hiccups, we're going for it.
Along the parade route, he has Adam Frederick with a weather update as well.
Hey, good morning, guys. You're right. The big question going into today's event was
a nice ensemble representing the military here today. Let's go to AJ Ellington. He has the royalty.
All right, guys, I'm here with the Mason City High School royalty. Abby Phillips is the queen. Abby, talk to me about what's going on behind us today.
Well, the Mason City.
Wow. Now, depending upon how much water you have in there will determine how quickly it goes off, how high they fly.
Today marks a historic first in Minnesota, effective at midnight. Same-sex couples in the state now able to say, I do.
And some did so just as the clock struck 12.
Things have been going strong all night and all morning. At the stroke of midnight, the first couples in Minnesota said, I do, with Mayor.
The share buyback, how does that help somebody?
You know, when they buy back the shares, what they do is they end up retiring the shares as they bring them in there. So if you still own a share, then you will have a greater percentage ownership of the company, greater future ownership.
The best way to avoid police searching through your phone may just be putting it away when you're behind the wheel.
Both have their own unique differences, but those involved with two separate but high-profile murder cases are preparing for what will be John Schneider Jr.'s disappearance. From one case that had gone cold to a case in which an arrest was made within moments of the crime.
To find out what brought Hugh Jackman to the Hawkeye State.
It's not often a red carpet event like this is held in a small North Iowa town, not to mention one that includes an A-list actor. But on this night, Hugh Jackman is here not only premiering at the reopening of the historic Metropolitan Theater.
To me, this is what should be happening all around America. These cinemas should be preserved, should be celebrated.
Well, and thankfully I'm not the only one out here dealing with this heat. Here's KIMT meteorologist Josh Worster. And Josh, I hear you have an experiment for us today.
Yeah, we're talking a little bit about the humidity outside and kind of what it feels like and what it does to what it feels like temperature-wise when we have this, when it's this sticky outside. It's kind of like...
Now, air pressure. Do you ever feel air pressure around you? Probably not, right? No. Now, do you have any friends, family that maybe are like, oh, wow, you know, this knee is really aching, can tell there's a winter storm coming through?
Yeah, I've heard.
There you go. There you go. Let go. Trust me.
My goodness.
There you go. And so what's happening, same thing is true here. If we go and we put it over your head here, just suddenly... What do you think is going on with mine, though?
So we're going to hear some selections coming right up. But first, though, we want to talk a little bit about what are we going to hear today and what's coming up?
Well, we're going to play...
Just last week, the nation's largest youth football program, Pop Warner, announced participation dropped nearly 10% between 2010 and 2012. And
without question, this is the busiest day of the high school state wrestling meet in Des Moines. All three classes are taking the mats twice with their dreams of a championship hanging in the balance.